Hello students, welcome back to our series of lectures on number theory. From today we are going to continue our lectures after Diwali holidays. So in the previous lecture we have seen the multiplicative function, that is the definition of multiplicative function and one theorem on that multiplicative function and one remark. That is, I think this was the last lecture's notes. So definition of multiplicative function is function f is said to be multiplicative if f satisfies this property or f of ab is equals to f of a into f of b. For that the GCD of m and n is equals to 1. So after that we have seen this theorem, that is d is multiplicative function, d, sigma, ohm, all those functions we have seen at the start of this chapter. So after that we have seen one remark: if GCD of m and n is equals to 1, then the set of all positive divisors of this multiplication m into n. So if GCD of m and n is equals to 1 and the set of all positive divisors of this multiplication consists of all positive divisors of product elements, that is divisors of m and n, that is divisors of m into n is just the elements d1 into d2, where this d1 divides m and d2 divides n. For that necessary condition is GCD of m and n is equals to 1. So today we are going to discuss one more theorem on this multiplicative function. So statement of the theorem is statement of this theorem is let is it visible to you? Yes, let small f of n, this is small f of n is multiplicative function. F of n is multiplicative function and we have given the capital F of n. So f of n is defined as f of n is equals to summation of this small f of d, where this d is divisor of n. We have given f of n is in the form summation of this f of d, that is here small f is multiplicative function and capital F is depend on this small f, such that capital F of n is just the summation of f of d, where f is multiplicative function and d is divisor of n, and we have to show this. We have given f is multiplicative function and we have to show this capital F is again multiplicative function. Then this capital F of n is multiplicative function. Capital F of n is multiplicative function. So to prove this theorem we are going to take three cases. For the definition of multiplicative function, we have seen the GCD of m and n is equals to 1, then f of ab is equals to f of a into f of b, and now we are going to prove this theorem. So in this proof, take first case as here m and n are integers and one of them is 1, that is, suppose this m and n are integers, and suppose this m is equals to 1. In the second case we are going to take n is equals to 1 if one of those integers, that is m and n, is equals to 1. Here we are going to prove the capital F of n is multiplicative function, that is capital F is multiplicative function. So that is we are going to prove. So our claim is f of m into n, f of mn is equals to f of m into f of n. So to prove this we have taken m and n are integers and one of them is equals to 1. Now we are going to consider this left hand side. Consider this f of mn is equals to, now we have given f of n as summation of f of d. So using this definition of f we can write summation of small f of d, where such that this d is divisor of this n. So here d must be divisor of this m into n. So this can be written as, here m is equals to 1, so we can write or put the value of m is equals to 1 here, and we will get the summation of f of d such that d is positive divisor of n, since m is equals to 1. Now from this definition, that is the definition of capital F, we can clearly see that here summation of f of d such that d divides n is f of n. So this is just the capital F of n by definition of capital F. This is by definition of F, by definition of capital F. So I can write it as 1 into f of n. If we multiply any number or any function with 1, we will get again that function. So 1 into f of n, and now we can write it this 1 as capital F of m into this f of n as it is, since m is equals to 1 and f of m is just the summation of f of d, that is summation of f of divisors of n. So here f of m will become, since f summation of divisors of 1, here m is equals to 1, so summation of divisors of 1 f of d, so summation of divisors of 1, so divisors of 1 are, so 1 is the only divisor of 1, so we can write this summation of f of d such that d divides 1. Here 1 is the value of m, since m is equals to 1, so we will get this as is equals to 1. So this our capital F of m will become our 1. So 1 is equals to f of 1, and we will get the our required claim. Therefore f of mn is equals to f of m into f of n. Don't make the confusion between small, that is small f, and capital F. So now in the second case we are going to take n is equals to 1. So our first two cases are just the if one of these numbers m and n is equals to 1. Now in the case second, similarly we are going to prove the second case as this m and n are integers, m and n are integers, and n is equals to 1. Our claim is again this f of mn is equals to f of m and f of into f of n. Now consider f of this is capital F of mn, which is equals to summation of divisors of f of d, summation of f of d, where d is divisor of mn. Now n is equals to 1, so I can write it as d divides m, this f of d, small f of d, since n is equals to 1. So this is just the definition of capital F of m. Now I can write it as capital F of m into 1, and you can write this f of m into f of n, since 1 is equals to summation of divisors of 1 f of d. So this is the proof of second case. Therefore capital F of mn is equals to f of m into f of n. Hence the second case is proved. Now the case third. The third case is, let this m and n are integers and GCD of m and n is equals to 1. GCD of m and n is equals to 1. Then our capital F of n is defined as summation of f of d, where d is divisor of n. Here we are going to prove f of mn is equals to f of n, sorry, f of m into f of n. Now here f of mn, that is the multiplication of m and n. Now if we apply the definition of capital F, we will get f of mn is equals to summation of f of d, such that this d is divisor of mn. And here in the third case we have taken the GCD of m and n is equals to 1. So by previous remark, we have the divisors of mn are just the product d1 d2, where d1 is divisor of m and d2 is divisor of n. So just a second, from this remark, if we have GCD of m and n is equals to 1, then the set of positive divisors of mn consist of all positive divisor of product elements, that is d1 into d2, where d1 is divisor of m and d2 is divisor of n. So if GCD of m and n is equals to 1, then the divisors of m into n are just the product of d1 and d2, such that d1 is divisor of m and d2 is divisor of n. So here in the third case we have taken the GCD of m and n is equals to 1. Therefore by previous remark or by above remark, then by above remark, in the examination you have to write the remark. Therefore by above remark, the set of positive divisors of this m into n consist of all product elements d1 d2, all product elements d1 d2, where this d1 is divisor of m and d2 divisor of n. Therefore you can write f of capital F of m into n is equals to summation of f of d, where d is divisor of m into n, but we have the divisors are of the form d1 into d2 divides mn, such that this f of d. Now we have given that f is multiplicative function. Here we have f of mn is equals to summation of d divides mn. So f of d, here d1 into d2 divides f of d1 into d2 divides mn means here d1 into d2. Use the proper definition here f of d. So this d is divisor of mn. So we have taken the summation over f of d. Here d1 into d2 is divisor of mn into n, m into n. So we have to take f of d1 into d2. So here our small f is multiplicative function. So we can write the summation d1 d2 d1 into d2 divides mn, f of d1 into f of d2, since our small f is multiplicative function which is given in our statement. F is multiplicative function. Now here d1 is divisor of m and d2 is divisor of n. So we can write it as summation over d1 divides m, f of d1 into summation d2 divides n, f of d2. And now by using the definition of capital F of n, we can write it as this f of m and this is f of n. Hence we have f of mn is equals to f of m into f of n. Hence the proof. So that is our f is multiplicative. F is multiplicative function. Now next, to prove next theorem, before that take one remark. The remark is, or sigma function sigma is also multiplicative function. Sigma is multiplicative function. Sigma means the sigma of n is the summation of all positive divisors of n. Sigma of n is function, arithmetic function. So, sigma is also multiplicative function. Now, we are going to take one theorem on this. To prove this next theorem, we need this remark. So, statement of the theorem is, let or just for every positive integer, n, sigma of n is equals to product of pi raised to alpha I plus 1, pi raised to alpha I plus 1 minus 1 divided by pi minus 1 divided by pi minus 1. This product I ranging from 1 to this, suppose r, 1 to r, or this theorem can be given in the form, this theorem or statement, write one or statement. If another statement of the same theorem is, or this theorem may be asked in the another form as, let the small n is equals to p1 raised to alpha 1 into p2 raised to alpha 2 up to pr raised to alpha r, that is this n is written in the canonical form. This p1 raised to alpha 1, p2 raised to alpha 2 up to pr raised to alpha r is just the canonical form of n. Then sigma of n is equals to product of pi raised to alpha I plus 1 minus 1 upon pi minus 1, and this I running from 1 to r, that is this I running from 1 to r. This theorem can be asked in this form, right? This theorem as. Now, we have given the canonical form of n and we have to prove the sigma of n is just the product of this. So, using this formula we can easily find the sigma of n for any value of n. So, for that we have to express that n in the canonical form. Now, to prove this result we have given n in the canonical form. So, in the proof of theorem we are going to first of all we are going to write the given things. We have given n is equals to p1 raised to alpha 1 into p2 raised to alpha 2 up to pr raised to alpha r. If this question or this theorem asked in the university exam, then the theorem must be this form, because in the product form I to r you must need the canonical expression of n. So, in the proof we have written the given thing, that is n is just the product, n is just the canonical form of p1 raised to alpha 1, p2 raised to alpha 2 up to pr raised to alpha r. Therefore, sigma of n can be written as, so sigma of n, applying sigma on both sides we can write sigma of n is equals to sigma of this whole term, that is p1 raised to alpha 1 into p2 raised to alpha 2 up to pr raised to alpha r. Now, we have seen the remark that sigma is multiplicative. Sigma is multiplicative function. Therefore, this sigma of n can be written as, that is using the definition of multiplicative function here we can write sigma of n is equals to sigma of p1 raised to alpha 1 into sigma of p2 raised to alpha 2 into sigma of p3 raised to alpha 3 up to sigma of pr raised to alpha r, pr raised to alpha r. Now, sigma is The definition of sigma of n is summation of all positive divisors of this n. Sigma of n is defined as summation of all positive divisors of n. So, sigma of p1 raised to alpha 1. So, to find the sigma of p1 raised to alpha 1, we have to find the all positive divisors of p1 raised to alpha 1. So, similarly for we have to find the all positive divisors of p2 raised to alpha 2, p3 raised to alpha 3 up to pr raised to alpha r. So, in common we have the divisors of pi raised to alpha I. We know that the divisors of this p1 raised to alpha 1 or pi raised to alpha I is pi raised to 0, pi raised to 1, pi raised to 2, pi square, pi cube up to pi raised to alpha I. These are all the positive divisors of this pi raised to alpha I. Now, we have pi raised to alpha I has divisors pi raised to 0, pi raised to 1, pi square up to pi to the power alpha I. These all are positive divisors of pi raised to alpha I. Therefore, sigma of pi raised to alpha I can be written as summation of all these divisors, that is 1 plus pi raised to 1, that is pi, plus pi square plus up to pi raised to alpha I. And now, this 1 plus pi square plus up to this plus pi to the power alpha I is clearly a geometric series. This is a geometric series with common difference, with common ratio this pi, that is 1 plus pi is pi, 1 into pi is pi, then pi into pi is pi square, then pi square into pi is pi cube. So, clearly this is geometric series with common ratio pi. Clearly this right hand side is geometric series with common ratio pi, and which is pi is greater than 1, since 1, these all are positive divisors. So, pi is greater than 1 and the first term is 1. So, we can generalize this series as sigma of pi raised to alpha I, that is generalize this right hand side as first term into common ratio to the power this alpha, all these terms. So, alpha, these all are alpha I 1, 2, 3 up to alpha I plus 1. So, alpha I plus 1 minus 1 divided by whole divided by this common ratio minus 1. So, this is the formula of geometric series. So, using this we have the value of sigma of pi raised to alpha I. Now, we can put the value of sigma of pi raised to alpha I here, or we just generalize here this result as sigma of p1 raised to alpha 1 into sigma of p2 raised to alpha 2, sigma of p3 raised to alpha 3. This multiplication we can generalize product of sigma of pi raised to alpha I running from 1 to r. You can just generalize this result as product. This is just the product of sigma of pi raised to alpha. If we put the value of 1, then we will get sigma of p1 raised to alpha 1 into sigma of, if we put I is equals to 2, and sigma of p2 raised to alpha 2. This is just the product of pi, sigma of pi raised to alpha I. So, this, suppose this is the equation number star, and putting the value of sigma of pi raised to alpha I, sigma of pi raised to alpha I in equation star, we will get. Therefore, equation star becomes left hand side as it is sigma of n is equals to this product as it is I running from 1 to r. Just replace the value of sigma of pi raised to alpha I is this by this number, that is pi raised to alpha I plus 1 minus 1 divided by pi minus 1, and hence the proof. In this proof we have use just one result, one remark, that is our sigma is multiplicative function. We have given n in the canonical form of p1 raised to alpha 1 up to pr raised to alpha r. So, just applying sigma on both sides, we get sigma of n is equals to this. So, sigma is multiplicative function. So, giving sigma to all those numbers separately. So, sigma of pi raised to p1 raised to alpha 1 into sigma of p2 raised to alpha 2 up to sigma of pr raised to alpha r, and just generalizing this product as product of I running from 1 to r, sigma of pi raised to alpha I, this is, and this equation, suppose this is equation number star, and sigma of n, by using the definition of sigma, we have sigma of n is summation of all positive divisors of n. So, for this sigma of p1 raised to alpha 1, or just sigma of, to find the sigma of pi raised to alpha I, we have to find the all positive divisors of pi raised to alpha I, and we know that the positive divisors of pi raised to alpha I are pi raised to 0, pi raised to 1, pi square, pi raised to alpha I. So, summing or adding those integer, adding those numbers, all those divisors, we get sigma of pi raised to alpha I just plus 1 plus this pi plus pi square plus up to pi raised to alpha I, and clearly this is a geometric series with common ratio pi. So, using the formula for geometric series, we will get our required claim. This is the proof of theorem. This theorem is useful to find the sigma of larger numbers. For example, we will take one example. This example may be asked for 2 marks in the university examination. Just example is find sigma of 180, sigma of 360, sigma of any number. To find this sigma, we just have to express this n, that is here n is equals to 180. So, we have to express this number in canonical form, and using the previous theorem, we can find the sigma of n in just 2 or 3 steps. We do not need to find the all positive divisors of 180 and add all those numbers. Instead of doing that, just here write the value of n is 180 and express this n as canonical expression of n. So, we can write it as, or find the canonical expression as, or just use the previous theorem instead of writing the canonical expression. We know that sigma of n is equals to product of I running from 1 to r, pi raised to alpha I plus 1 minus 1 upon pi minus 1. So, here sigma of 180 can be written as product of I running from 1 to r, I running from 1 to r, this pi raised to alpha I plus 1 minus 1 upon pi minus 1, pi minus 1. Now, we have to express this 180 as in the canonical form. So, here to find the canonical form, we have formula, that is n into 1 minus 1 upon p1, 1 minus 1 upon, so this is just wrong, this is Euler's phi function. So, expressing this 2 into 90, 2 into 2 into 45. So, 2 into, just a second, 90 into 2, so 45 into 2. So, 2 into 2 into 45, that is 445 is a 180. Again 45 is 3 into 15. So, 15 can be expressed as 3 into 5. So, the canonical form of 180 is 2 square into 3 square into 5. So, here P1, P2, P3. So, are running from 1 to 3. So, we can write it as this P1 raised to alpha 1 plus 1 minus 1 upon P1 minus 1 into this P2 raised to alpha 2 plus 1 minus 1 upon P2 minus 1, and P3 to the power alpha 3 plus 1 minus 1 upon this P3 minus 1. Here P1, P2, P3 are 2, 3 and 5 respectively. Alpha 1 is equals to 2, alpha 2 is equals to 2 and alpha 3 is equals to 1. So, using these values we can write 2 to the power alpha 1 is 2, then plus 1 minus 1 upon 2 minus 1. Again this P2 is 3, alpha 2 is 2 plus 1, this minus 1 upon P2 is 3 minus 1, and again this P3 is 5 to the power alpha 3 is 1. So, 1 plus 1 minus this 1 upon P3 is 5 minus 1, and just calculating this we can write this 2 cube is 8 minus 1 is 7, 7 by 1 is 7 into again 3 cube is 27 minus 1 26, 26 by 2 is 13 into 13 by, just a second, instead of just write 7 into this 13 into 5 square is 25 minus 1 24, 24 by 4 is 6. So, multiplying these numbers 13 into 6 into 7, 6 7s are 25, 13s are 5 46. So, this is sigma of 180. Similarly, you can find the sigma of any number.